Hi there. When you're doing development work, sometimes what you need is a load of test data. And that test data could be numbers, decimals, doubles, floats, whatever. It could be strings, text, random words, made up words, or real words, like from a dictionary. And that's what this video is about, really. It's about creating test data sort of quickly and easily to a sort of format and structure that's needed for your testing. Because of course some testing isn't just about does your program work. There's also performance. So maybe you want to generate text strings of like 1,500 characters or something for whatever purpose. And you want to see what the performance is like. So this video is going to answer quite a lot of those questions. So initially we're going to do some arcade and then move over into the sort of notebook world on a more slightly more complicated example. So if we look at the fields in this, not actually in ArcGIS Online, but across this portal, and it's arcade, so arcade will work wherever you've got arcade working. I've got these two fields, random word, string, and random number, which is a double. So let's look at the random number first. Now, what we're going to use here is the good old calculate option under the table view. So I'm going to go to calculate, and I'm going to go arcade. There's lots of options in SQL. Maybe I'll do that in another video, but I'm using arcade at the moment because you can bring that into into your experience builder apps and everything else, really. So now there is a command random, just like that. But if you run that, what it actually does is generate a number between 0 and 1. So if I click test, you can see what this will do. Lots of decimal places, you see. So it's between 0 and 1. Click again, test, and I'll get something else. As I click, I get another number. Now, that might be the kind of number you want, but I don't know. It's sort of whole numbers and rounded numbers, etc., are perhaps a bit more useful. But like I said, you may want those kind of numbers. So that's what random does for you. However, what you could do is multiply it. And you'll get, let's say, by 10,000 and run that. And then, of course, you get a number past 1, obviously. And that gives something more perhaps usable in your requirements. It depends what your requirements are. It'll never get up to 10,000. Because, like I said, when you do random 0 and 1, it's up to 1. So it'll only get to 0.999999, you see. So even by star 1 to 10,000, you'll only go up to 9,999. So that's certainly one way of generating these numbers and updating. What I'm going to do is add a floor. Now, the floor, if I run that, 5,030, so it just flattens it out. So if I press OK on that, let's just copy that actually, I think. Let's run OK. So here you can see it's a double, you see, so I've got the decimal places there, but I have floored it to a whole number. But as you can see, I've got some nice round numbers. It'll never go beyond 9,999. It could be useful, could be what you're after, but maybe you are after the decimal places. Okay, so go back to calculate, arcade, one-off calculation, of course, but this could be something running in a map pop-up and stuff like that. It doesn't need to be. It could be in your web form and be a sort of calculation expression. Things like that. I'm just doing this just to demonstrate. So let's get rid of the floor and let's do a round because I want some decimal places, and we'll put a comma 2 in, you see. So when I do test now, if I've done that right, the syntax, there you go, I've got 2 decimal places. So let's do okay. So I'm after decimal places here. That's why I've used use the rounding and then a value. So you can structure this however you need. So now you can see I've got 2 decimal places afterwards, and maybe what we're actually heading towards here is, I don't know, on a grid system you could generate some random x and y coordinates, for example. But as you can see, I've got loads of random numbers, which is pretty good. So that's a good way of just getting your random numbers out for you. What about the random word, a bit of text? Okay, let's go to calculate again on random word. Do arcade. Now what I'll do is I'm just going to sort of copy and paste what I've got here. Get rid of that for a second. Now, one way of doing random text is to feed it a list. The sort of random function. So as you can see, I've got the months, and I actually do a count of how many are in that list as well as the multiplier. So to get it, as a whole number, and I generate a sort of index of which one I'm after. So that basically will just pick a number from 1 to 12, and it will return that number based on that random. So if I test this, you'll see what I mean. It's returned July. Do test August. So as you can see, so that's quite a decent way if you've got a fairly simple list of text options, that you just want to randomly choose, So it's not applicable to typing in a 1,000 options. I'll show you how to do that next. But for like 12 options or something like that, it works fine, and it can easily return it. So press OK, insert, and there you go. So I've got a random month and a random number, which is pretty neat. So I'm going to do something a bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make up text, make up words. So I'll go back to arcade. Show me doesn't remember the last one. I think that would be a handy little feature there. Okay, so what have we got here? So I'm defining chars here as this long list. Yep. All the letters, the alphabet, numbers. I could have put some punctuation in there as well, actually. And then I just count the number of individual ones. That's literally just by no split. So it's going to go 1, 2. Actually, it's 0. I think it starts from. But anyway, it counts incrementally, just going up by 1 because there's no sort of split. If they were separated by comma, you'd look for the comma, that sort of thing. So that's what split is doing. It's just helping you count all those characters. And like I said, you could actually add any characters in there. And what I want to say here is actually that what's that bit there? Length is already. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm getting random length between 3 and 10. So it's got to be at least 3. Yeah. But maximum of 10 in size. So I'm making up a random text value between a width of 3 and 10. So I'm going to change. I do have that var length. It's a warning there. That's change that to word length, I think. Make sure we update that as well. Okay, so I'll just change that because it's a good warning actually. I mean, it's silly to use a something that already exists elsewhere. It clearly told you. And then I get I set a random length of a word between this max and min. Now, there's an interesting thing there with the +1. That's to make it up to right up to the sort of maximum of 10. It's not 3 sort of in between the 3 and 10, it's up to 10. So make sure, because random, don't forget, returns between 0 and 1, 0 and then up to 0.1 up to 0.99999, etc. So what I'm doing is I'm forcing the minimum length of an additional 1. So I get guaranteed max of 10. And I null result, just empty it, declare it effectively, and then I go through each letter and sort of adding it together until I get a result which is less than the word length. You see, so I'm building up random characters until it's less than the word length, which is up there, which is a random number between max and min plus 1. So when I do test, you see I get this complete random text. Do it again. So it works pretty well. Maximum size will always be 10. Let's press OK. It inserts, calculates, and then here we go. So here you can see I've got a real random word in there now. So that's pretty neat for some random text. Works quite well. So I've opened up this notebook, one I've already prepared. So I'll do the usual at the top there, just get things rolling, set home. And I'm also importing, you'll see requests. I'll show you that in a second. And I'm looking at feature sort of functions. I'm going to use those, and you'll see those in a second. But sort of relatively standard, apart from that bit. Because how am I going to generate real words? So what I thought was that that there would be a service of some description, and I did. I found this one. There's actually a few others. So if I copy this URL, let's go to here and just put that in. You can see I get back 10 words in this list. You see structure. Change that to 20. I get 20. So there's a few others that do that, and so I'm just showing this for demonstration purposes, sort of reaching out to a service and reading the data and importing it. So you do well to think twice about this architecturally if you're going to productionize this. But like I said, it's demonstration really. So what am I doing here? Well, I'm actually looking for, first of all, this table. See random text demo. If I go to here, I've got this table. It's just a table. That's all. I've got an overview. You can see this is a table hosted, and it's a table called random text. So it's purely that's all it is, and it's got some blank records, I think, in it. Yeah, okay, so it's got some blank records, 40 that I've sort of been messing about with, and I think I will update or insert some new ones with my real words. So I check to see that I can see random text demo, and it's got it, and set those that table item. It's a table, so I make a note of the fact it's a table. It could be a feature layer though. It doesn't have to be a table. And then I just print stuff out just to double check, and then set response to request.get, and that's my URL request. Here, let's set that to, let's stick 20 new records in. Grab the JSON response into words, and then I go through each word because it's a list, so it's gonna process each word in the list. I'm going to look for my feature attribute of random real word, and from the table. So if we go back here, here, and in fields, there it is. There's the actual name of the field itself, not the display name. The field name, random real word. Sorry, try to say that quick. I actually do an append, but it's again demonstration purposes only. Run the edit, so it's been added, and then I just print out the result and check it out. So let's run it. So I've got no random words in there at the moment. So there should be, 20 new ones added. So I think there were 40 sort of empty records in there. And there we go. So it looks like it's, it looks like it's done stuff, which looks good. Let's go to here. Go to table. And down here, there we go. There's my 20 random words populated. Like I said, this above here was just some previous sort of empty data I've been playing around with, but you can quite clearly see, it's come off with 20 and added it to the end. So there's 60 features. So if I was to change this to let's say 40, and then just run this all again. I don't have to run all actually, I could have just run that. So I've added 40, so now there should be 100. There you go, features 100. And there they all in. All are. I mean, like I said, it's a service I just found randomly, literally. But the point being is that it's a good way to generate some sample data that's kind of readable, human readable, and it's text. I know it's running in Python, but this could you could attach this in ArcGIS Pro very easily. Certainly, this is ArcGIS Online, so easily to bring that in anywhere really. Update feature service or what have you, and you can see a little demonstration here about going off to the internet, grabbing data, doing a little process to it, and then storing it in the in a table. But like I said, it could be a feature there, so it's a sort of neat bit of sort of import type processing going on. Anyway, I hope you like that sort of little journey into random data. I hope you find it useful. Thanks very much.